Question 1. You use Microsoft 365 Copilot to generate a training plan. You need to check if there are any existing training plans in your organization that are similar to the new training plan. What should you use in Copilot? Your options are Search, Designer, Apps, and Pages. And the correct answer is Search. Now let's understand why. In this question, you have already created a training plan, but before finalizing it, you want to check if similar plans already exist in your organization. So the requirement is not creation, it's discovery. And whenever you need to find existing content across Microsoft 365, the feature you should immediately think of is search. Search allows you to look across SharePoint, OneDrive, Teams, and other sources to identify documents that already exist. This helps you to avoid duplication and reuse existing work. So option A is the correct answer. Now let's quickly eliminate the other options. Option B, Designer, is used for creating and enhancing visual content like slides or images. It does not help you to find existing documents. Option C, Apps, simply gives access to different Microsoft 365 tools. It is not a search capability. Option D, Pages, is used to create and organize content, not to discover existing files. So only search directly meets the requirement. Next question. Question 2. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. You have been given three statements and you need to identify whether they are true or false. For these, the answers are no, yes, and yes. And let's look at them. Why? The first statement says Copilot can answer questions about Teams meetings that you are not invited to. Well, this is false. Copilot always respects permissions. It cannot access or surface any data that you are not authorized to see. So if you are not invited to a meeting, you don't have access to it, and Copilot won't have access either. So the answer for the statement 1 is no. The second statement, Copilot can provide summaries and answer questions about chat messages, channel posts, and Teams meetings. This is true. This is one of Copilot's core capabilities. It can analyze conversations, summarize discussions, and answer questions based on content, as long as you have access to that data. This is important. So the answer for statement 2 is yes. The third statement, Copilot can provide a summary of all the upcoming meetings you are invited to next week. This is also true. Copilot can access your calendar and generate summaries of your upcoming meetings, helping you plan your schedule. So the answer for statement 3 is yes. So putting it all together, the final answers are no, yes, and yes. Next question. You use Microsoft 365 Copilot. You regularly upload the same 5 files to Copilot chats. You need to simplify referencing the files in the chats. What are the two ways to achieve the goal? You have been given 5 options. You can read through them, pause the video, and come back when you are ready with the answers. Well, the answers are option A and option C. Let's see why. Create an agent that has a knowledge source and create notebook that references the files are the correct options because the problem here is repetition. You are uploading the same files again and again. So the goal is to enable reuse instead of repeating manual steps. Option A is correct because when you create an agent with a knowledge source, those files become part of the agent's context. Every time you use that agent, it already knows those files. No need to upload them again. Option C is also correct because a notebook allows you to store files and reuse them across multiple interactions. Once the files are in the notebook, Copilot can reference them directly. Now let's eliminate the other options. Option B, saving a prompt does not reliably retain file attachments. You will still need to reattach the files. Option D, fine-tuning a model. It is completely unnecessary for this scenario. Option E, zipping the files still requires repeated uploads and does not improve usability. So only options A and C are the ones that are relevant to the problem. Next question. Select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. You are creating an agent in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. The agent persona must be warm and friendly. To set the persona, you should modify the, and you have been given four options in a drop down. The options are capabilities, description, instructions, and suggested prompts. And the answer is instructions. Let's see why. In this question, you are creating an agent in Microsoft 365 Copilot, and the requirement is very specific. You want the agent's persona to be warm and friendly. So the focus here is not on what the agent does, the focus is on how the agent behaves. And in Copilot agents, behavior, tone, and personality are defined in instructions. Instructions basically tell the agent how to respond, what tone to use, and how to interact with users. So if you want the agent to sound warm, friendly, or conversational, this is exactly where you define it. Now let's look at the other options. Capabilities define what the agent can do, like retrieving data or performing actions. They do not control tone. Description is just a summary of the agent's purpose. It explains what the agent does, not how it speaks. Suggested prompts are example inputs for users. They help users interact, but they do not define the agent's behavior. So only one option directly controls personality and tone, and that is instructions. Next question, question 5. You create a prompt and add several files from your Microsoft OneDrive. You share the prompt to user by using email. What occurs when the user uses the prompt? Please go through the options by pausing the video. And the correct answer is the option D. The user can run the prompt successfully only if they have access to the files in your OneDrive. This question is testing one of most important principles of Microsoft 365 Copilot, and that is permissions. You created a prompt, attached files from your OneDrive, and then shared that prompt with another user. But here is the key point. Sharing a prompt is not the same as sharing files. Copilot does not change permissions. It simply uses the permissions that already exist in Microsoft 365. So when the user runs the prompt, Copilot tries to access those files. If the user already has access, the prompt works. If they don't, it fails. That's why option D is correct. Now look at the other options. Option A says access is granted automatically. That's incorrect because Copilot never grants permissions. Option B says files are removed. That's not true. The references remain in the prompt. Option C says the user is prompted to request access. That might sound logical, but Copilot does not handle access requests. So only option D aligns with how Copilot actually works. If you are finding these questions helpful and want everything in one place, I have got something for you. I have created a PDF that contains all practice questions along with their answers and explanations. So instead of going through each video one by one, you can download the full set and study at your own pace. The link to download the PDF is provided in the description below. Just check the description, click the link, and you will get access to the PDF instantly. It contains all 100 questions along with the detailed explanations. You can use the videos for quick revision and understanding, and the PDFs as your complete practice guide. Now let's get back to the next question. Next question. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Again, you have three statements. You can pause the video over here and go through them and come back with when you are ready with the answers. And the answers are yes to all. And let's see why. First, you can chat with the analyst agent within an existing Copilot conversation. This is true. Copilot allows you to invoke agents directly without starting a new chat, so your workflow stays continuous. Second, you can chat with the researcher agent within the same conversation. This works exactly the same way, You can bring in the researcher agent whenever needed without leaving the current chat. Third statement, you can use multiple agents within a single conversation. This is also true. Copilot supports multi-agent interaction, so different agents can contribute within the same conversation flow. So all three statements are correct. Next question. You join an internal Microsoft Teams meeting late and want to catch up on what you missed. The meeting is being recorded. You need to summarize the portion of the meeting that you missed as soon as possible. What is the best approach to achieve the goal? Again, you have four options. Please go through them. Come back when you're ready with the answer. Yeah, and the answer is option A. From the Teams app, ask Copilot in Teams to summarize what you missed so far. In this scenario, you join a Microsoft Teams meeting late and want to catch up quickly. The key phrase here is as soon as possible. So this is not just about getting information, it's about getting it instantly while the meeting is still in progress. Now think about where the best meeting context exists. It exists inside Microsoft Teams. Copilot in Teams has direct access to the live conversation and can generate a summary immediately when you ask something like, what did I miss? That makes option A the fastest and most effective solution. Okay, let's look at other options. Option B, reading the transcript is too slow and manual for this requirement. Option C, using Copilot from the Microsoft 365 app is less effective because it does not have the same real-time meeting context as Teams. And option D, intelligent recap is typically available after the meeting, not during it. So it's only option A that meets the requirement. Okay, next question. You sign into Microsoft 365 Copilot app by using your work account as shown in the following exhibit. And you have been shown a screenshot and you are given a question, which is a colleague tells you that when they open the Microsoft 365 Copilot app, they have access to the researcher agent. You need to access to the researcher agent. What should you do? Again, you have four options and you need to find the answer from these. The correct answer is option B. Select explore agents and then search for researcher. Let's see why. In this scenario, you are already signed into the Microsoft 365 account using your work account. So access is not the issue. The real problem is visibility. You cannot see the researcher agent. And this is a key concept. Not all agents are visible by default. Some need to be discovered. That's where Explore Agents comes in. From there, you can browse or search for agents like researcher and start using them. So option B directly solves the problem. Now let's look at the other options. Option A talks about requesting a license, but you already have access to Copilot. So licensing is not the issue. Option C suggests using a personal account. That's incorrect because Researcher is part of the enterprise experience and works with your work account. And option D suggests using Copilot in a browser, but the issue is not the platform. It's that the agent hasn't been discovered. So this does not help either. So the only option that actually addresses the problem is option B. Next question. How does Microsoft 365 Copilot maintain the privacy and security of your organization's information? In four options, please pause the video and go through them. The correct answer is option C. Copilot inherits all the security, compliance, and privacy policies configured by your organization in Microsoft 365. And let's see why this is the right answer. This question is testing a core concept of Microsoft 365 Copilot, security and permissions. Copilot does not introduce a new security model. It works on top of the existing Microsoft 365 framework. So whatever permissions, compliance policies, sensitivity labels, or data protection rules are already configured in your organization, Copilot simply follows them. It inherits them. That means if you don't have access to a file, Copilot cannot access it either. It never bypasses or overrides permissions. Well, let's look at other options. Option A talks about AI-driven access controls. It sounds advanced. It's incorrect. Copilot does not decide access dynamically. It follows existing permissions. Option B says Copilot overrides Microsoft 365 policies. That would break enterprise security. So this is clearly incorrect. Option D says users can manage their own security policies. That's absurd. Security is centrally managed by administrators, not individual users. So one option aligns with how enterprise security works, and that is inheritance of existing policies. So the final option is option C. Next question. You are discussing Microsoft 365 Copilot with a colleague. The colleague asks which data Copilot uses to answer questions when using the work scope. What should you tell your colleague? Four options. Please pause the video and go through them. The correct answer is option A. Copilot provides responses based only on data that the user can access and the general knowledge that Copilot was trained on. Let's see why this is the right answer. In work scope, Copilot combines two things. First, it uses your organizational data, which is emails, documents, Teams, chats, and meetings, but only the data that you have permission to access. Second, it uses general knowledge from the AI model. This helps it to understand your request and generate meaningful responses. This combination is very important. Your data plus the model knowledge. This is exactly what option A describes. Let's look at other options. Option B says Copilot uses all organization data. That's incorrect because Copilot strictly respects permissions. Option C says it uses only user accessible data. That's incomplete because it ignores the AI model knowledge. Option D says it uses only general knowledge. That's also incorrect because Copilot clearly uses organizational data in work scope. So option A is the only complete and correct answer. Question 11. You are using Microsoft 365 Copilot to enhance your productivity in Microsoft Word. Which two tasks can you achieve by using Copilot in Word? And you have been given four options. Please go through them. The correct answers are option A and option C. Let's see them why. When you are using Copilot in Microsoft Word, you need to remember one key idea. Copilot is strong in understanding content, not in handling detailed formatting tasks. Having said that, let's take a look at option A. It says insert a table of contents based on headings in your document. This is absolutely something Copilot can help with. If your document is structured with proper headings, Copilot can recognize their structure and generate a table of contents automatically. So this aligns perfectly with its ability to organize and structure content. Next, option C says generate a summary of key points in your document. This is one of the most powerful features of Copilot. It can read through large amounts of text and provide a concise summary. This is a core capability, so option C is also correct. Now let's eliminate the incorrect options. Option B talks about customizing page margins. That's a formatting setting in Word and is not something Copilot focuses on. It doesn't handle your layout configurations. Option D mentions inserting a custom watermark with specific formatting. Again, this is a manual design and formatting task, not a Copilot capability. So if you look at the pattern, Copilot helps with understanding, summarizing, and structuring content, but not with formatting. So final takeaway, whenever you say word related questions, remember this simple rule. Copilot works on content, not formatting. Next question. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. You have been given three statements. Please go through them by pausing the video. The correct answers are yes, no, and yes. And let's see why. Starting with statement 1, Microsoft 365 Copilot can surface data from Microsoft Teams chats. This is true. Copilot integrates with Teams and can access chat conversations, summarize them, and answer questions based on that content. Of course, this always depends on your permissions. If you have access, Copilot can use it. So statement 1 is true. Statement 2, it says Copilot can schedule, draft, and send emails based on certain conditions. This is where confusion happens. Copilot can definitely draft emails, but scheduling and sending emails based on conditions is automation. That kind of workflow is handled by Power Automate and not Copilot. Copilot assists you, but it does not execute automated workflows on its own. So statement 2 is false and hence no. Statement 3, Copilot can summarize, draft, and answer questions about content from Teams meetings. This is absolutely correct. Copilot can analyze meeting transcripts, discussions, and recordings to generate summaries, action items, and insights. So statement 3 is yes. So final answers are yes, no, and yes. And here's the key takeaway. Copilot helps you create and understand content, but it does not automate actions. Whenever you see automation or conditional workflows, think of Power Automate and not Copilot. Next question. You use the researcher agent in Microsoft 365 Copilot to generate a report. What can you use to verify whether the report was generated by using valid sources? And your options are citations, instructions, memory, capabilities. And the correct answer is citations. Let's see why. In this scenario, you are using the researcher agent to generate a report, and your goal is to verify whether the information in that report is based on valid sources. This is not about generating content, this is about validating the source of the content. And in Microsoft 365 Copilot, the feature that directly helps with this is citations. Citations show you where the information is coming from. They provide traceability and allow you to go back and check whether the content is accurate and reliable. So option A is clearly the correct answer. Now let's look at the other options. Option B is instructions. Instructions control how the agent behaves, like tone or style, but they do not tell you anything about the source of information. Option C is memory. Memory helps maintain context across conversations, but it does not help you verify sources. Option D is capabilities. Capabilities define what the agent can do, but they do not provide visibility into where the information is coming from. Hence, if you focus on this requirement, which is verifying sources, only one option fits, and that is citations. Next question. You create a Microsoft 365 Copilot notebook and add a file named process.docx from a local folder. Yesterday, you updated process.docx in the local folder. What will occur when you chat in the notebook? The chat will reference the most recent version, the chat will reference both the versions, or the chat will reference only the original version of process.docx. And the correct answer is option C. Let's see why. In this scenario, you created a Copilot notebook and added a file from your local system. That detail is very important because the file is coming from your local folder, not from the OneDrive or SharePoint. And since it is coming from a local folder, Copilot does not maintain a live connection to it. Instead, it takes a snapshot of the file at the time you uploaded it into the notebook. Now, here is the key point. Once the file is uploaded, the notebook works only with that version. If you later make changes to the file on your computer, those changes are not reflected in the notebook. So when Copilot references the file in the chat, it will continue to use the original version that was uploaded. That is why option C is correct. Now let's look at the other options. Option A says the chat will reference the most recent version. That would only happen if the file was linked from a cloud source with live sync, which is not the case here. Option B says the chat will reference both the versions. That is also incorrect because Copilot does not automatically track multiple versions of a locally uploaded file. So the correct option is option C. Next question. You have a Microsoft 365 subscription. You do not have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. When you send a prompt in Microsoft 365 Copilot chat, which three sources does Copilot chat use to respond? And you have been given 6 options. You have to choose 3 of them. The correct answers are C, the prompt context, E, internet search data, and F, the conversation history. Let's see why. See, the most important detail in this question is that you do not have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. That completely changes how Copilot works. Without a license, Copilot cannot access your organization's internal data. That means no emails, no Teams chats, no documents, and no Microsoft 365 organizational content. So, what does Copilot use instead? First, it uses the prompt context. Whatever you type becomes the primary input for generating the response. Second, it uses internet search data. Since it cannot access enterprise data, it relies on publicly available information from the web. Third, it uses the conversation history. This helps maintain continuity across multiple prompts in the same chat. So these three together, prompt context, internet data, and conversation history, form the basis of Copilot chat without a license. If you look at the other options, option A, Teams chat data is organizational data, so it is not accessible. Option B, organizations databases, again not accessible. And option D, Microsoft 365 organizational data is the biggest trap, but without a license, it is not used. So the correct answers are option C, E, and F. Key takeaway from this question is no Copilot license means no organizational data. If you are finding these questions helpful and want everything in one place, I have got something for you. I have created a PDF that contains all practice questions along with their answers and explanations. So instead of going through each video one by one, you can download the full set and study at your own pace. The link to download the PDF is provided in the description below. Just check the description, click the link, and you will get access to the PDF instantly. It contains all 100 questions along with the detailed explanations. You can use the videos for quick revision and understanding, and the PDFs as your complete practice guide. Now let's get back to the next question. Next question. Select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. Please go through this question. And the correct answer is Microsoft Purview. Microsoft Purview enables organizations to apply governance policies to conversations generated by using Microsoft 365 Copilot. Let's see why. The keyword in this question is governance. Governance includes data classification, compliance, retention, policies, auditing, and data protection. In Microsoft's ecosystem, all of these capabilities are handled by Microsoft Purview. Purview is the platform that helps organizations control how data is used, labeled, protected, and monitored. And this applies not just to emails and documents, but also to content generated by Microsoft 365 Copilot, including conversations. So if an organization wants to apply governance policy to Copilot generated content, Purview is the right solution. Let's look at the other options. Microsoft Defender for Cloud is focused on security and threat protection for cloud workloads. It does not handle governance of content. Entra ID is about identity and access management. It controls who can access resources, but not how data is governed. Intune is used for device and application management. It does not deal with data governance or compliance policies. So when you see requirements related to governance, compliance, or data protection, the answer is almost always you got it, Microsoft Purview. Next question. In Microsoft 365 Copilot, you save a prompt. Which two actions can you perform for the saved prompt? And your options have been given. You can go through these options. And the correct answer is B and E. Let's see why. When you save a prompt in Microsoft 365 Copilot, it gets stored in the prompt gallery. Think of this as a reusable library where you can keep prompts for future use. Now, once a prompt is saved, you should be able to manage it. Option B says you can remove the saved prompt from the prompt gallery. This is correct. If a prompt is no longer needed, you can delete it from the gallery. Option E says you can share a saved prompt to a Microsoft Teams team. This is also correct. Sharing prompts is a powerful feature because it allows teams to standardize how they use Copilot. For example, one well-designed prompt can be used by the entire team. Now let's eliminate the incorrect options. Option A says you can modify the same prompt text. While this sounds logical, saved prompts are not designed for direct editing like documents. Option C says you can update the title. Again, this is not a supported direct action in the prompt gallery. Option D says you can schedule the prompt to run daily. This is not a Copilot feature. Scheduling and automation belongs to tools like Power Automate. So the only valid actions are removing and sharing. The final options are option B and option E. Key takeaway from this question: saved prompts are meant for reuse and sharing, not automation or advanced editing. Next question. You use Microsoft 365 Copilot to create a proposal in Word based on a document in SharePoint library. You need to ensure that the information cited in the proposal is accurate. What is the best approach to achieve the goal? You have four options. Please go through them. And the correct answer is option A, manually verify the citations in the generated content. Let's see why. In this scenario, you are using Copilot in Word to generate a proposal based on document from SharePoint. Copilot is helping you draft content and include references from that source. But here is the key point. Copilot can assist with content generation, but it does not guarantee the perfect accuracy in citations. It may summarize incorrectly or reference something strictly out of context. So, if your goal is to ensure accuracy, especially for something important like a proposal, the safest and most reliable approach is manual verification. You need to go back to the original source document and confirm that the cited information is correct. That's why option A is the correct answer. Now let's eliminate the other options. Option B suggests using Copilot itself to verify citations. This is not reliable because Copilot cannot fully validate its own output. Option C talks about creating an agent with editorial standards that helps with tone and formatting, not factual accuracy. Option D suggests using a notebook with reference material that helps with organization, but it does not validate the correctness. So only manual verification ensures accuracy. Final answer, option A. Key takeaway, Copilot helps you move faster, but accuracy is still your responsibility. Question 19. You have an open Microsoft Word document that has a sensitivity label named highly confidential applied. From PowerPoint, you plan to use Copilot to generate a presentation of the Word document. What will be the result? You have four options, and the correct answer is option C. Copilot will generate the presentation and apply the highly confidential label. Let's see why. This question is testing your understanding of sensitivity labels in M365 and how they behave when Copilot generates new content. Sensitivity labels are not just visual tags. They are part of your organization's data protection framework and enforce rules around how data is handled and shared. Now, in this scenario, you have a Word document labeled highly confidential and you use Copilot in PowerPoint to generate a presentation from that document. So, what happens to the label? The key concept here is inheritance. When Copilot generates a new content based on a labeled source, the new content automatically inherits the same sensitivity label. This ensures that compliance and data protection are maintained. That's why option C is correct. Let's eliminate the other options. Option A says Copilot cannot generate the presentation. That's incorrect because labels do not block generation if you have access. Option B says Copilot will prompt you to choose a label. That's not needed because the label is already defined in the source. Option D says the presentation will be created without a label. That would break compliance, so it is incorrect. So the correct answer is option C. Key takeaway, whenever content is generated from a labeled source, the label follows the data. All right, next question. Whenever you are creating an agent in Copilot, you can leverage generative AI to build the agent by using four options. You have the Configure tab, a Copilot notebook, a Copilot page, and the Describe tab. The correct answer is the Describe tab. Let's see why. When you create an agent in Copilot, there are two approaches. One is manual configuration, where you define everything step by step. The other is using generative AI, where you simply describe what you want and Copilot builds it for you. The Describe tab is designed exactly for the second approach. In the Describe tab, you can write a natural prompt like create an agent that summarizes project updates in a friendly tone, and Copilot will automatically generate the agent setup. It defines the instructions, behavior, and overall configuration based on your description. That's why option D is correct. Let's eliminate the other options. Option A, the configure tab is used for manual setup. You define everything yourself, so it's not AI driven. Option B, a Copilot notebook is used to organize files and context, not to create agents. Option C, a Copilot page is for content creation and organization, not agent building. So only the describe tab uses generative AI to create an agent. Final option, option D. Key takeaway, if the question mentions generative AI and creation, look for options where you describe or prompt, not manually configure. You are using Microsoft 365 Copilot to enhance your productivity in Microsoft Outlook. Which two tasks can you achieve by using Copilot in Outlook? And your options are given on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video. The correct answers are B and C. Let's see why. First of all, let's understand what Copilot can do in Microsoft Outlook. Copilot is designed to improve productivity by helping you manage emails more efficiently, especially when it comes to understanding and responding to messages. See, option B says generate a draft response based on the context of the conversation. This is correct. Copilot can read the email thread and automatically create a reply that fits the context, saving you time. So this is correct. Option C says create a summary of unread emails. This is also correct. Copilot can summarize multiple emails so you can quickly catch up on what's important. Then let's eliminate the incorrect options. Option A talks about inserting a custom HTML signature. That's a manual setup in Outlook and not something Copilot does. Option D is about customizing folder structure. That's again a settings and organization task, not a Copilot capability. So the correct options are B and C. Next question. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. And you have three statements on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video. And the correct answers are no, yes, and yes. Let's see why. Statement 1 says Copilot is trained on your organization's business data. This is incorrect. Copilot is built on pre-trained large language models. Your organization data is not used to train the model. Instead, it is accessed securely at runtime to generate responses. Statement 2 says Copilot can summarize emails in shared mailboxes. This is correct, as long as you have access to those email boxes. Copilot respects permissions and can work with any data you are authorized to see. Statement 3 says Copilot leverages the Microsoft 365 security framework. This is also correct. Copilot follows all existing security, compliance, and access controls to ensure data is protected. So the final answers are no, yes, and yes. Next question. Select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. Over-reliance is a common risk associated with generative AI where, and you have four options. Please go through them. And the correct answer is users accept the AI generated output without verifying its accuracy. Let's understand why. Over reliance is not about what the AI does, but about how the user behaves. It happens when users trust the AI output blindly without checking whether it is correct or not. This is risky because generative AI can sometimes produce incorrect or misleading information. Now let's look at the other options. If users exploit vulnerabilities, this is more like prompt injection or malicious use. If the model is tricked into exposing confidential data, that is a security issue, not over reliance. If the model generates inaccurate or misleading content, that is called fabrication or hallucination. So the key idea is this: over reliance is about users trusting AI too much. Final answer: users accept the AI generated output without verifying its accuracy. Next question. You have several separate Microsoft 365 Copilot conversations. You need to gather the conversations so that you can find them more easily and the conversations can share the same reference material. What is the best solution to achieve the goal? Your options are a notebook, an agent, an app, a page. And the correct answer is a notebook. Let's see why. First, let us understand the requirement. You have multiple Copilot conversations and you want to organize them in a way that makes them easy to find. At the same time, you want those conversations to share the same reference material. This is exactly what a notebook is designed for. A notebook allows you to group related conversations together in one place. More importantly, it lets you attach shared reference material so all conversations within that notebook can use the same context. Now let's eliminate the other options. An agent is used for performing tasks, not organizing conversations. An app is just a platform, not a solution for grouping conversations. A page is used for content, not for managing multiple conversations. So the best solution that meets both the requirements is a notebook. Next question. You are a project coordinator for a small consulting firm. You are responsible for tracking client communications, managing project timelines, and preparing weekly status updates for internal stakeholders. You have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. You create an agent to help you monitor project milestones, follow up on client emails, and generate weekly summary reports with whom you can share the agent. And your options are given below. Please go through the option by pausing the video. And the correct answer is only the people in your organization. Let's understand the scenario. You created a Copilot agent to help with project tracking, client communication, and generating reports. This agent is likely using organizational data like email and internal project information. Now, the key question is with whom can you share this agent? Copilot operates within the boundaries of your organization's tenant. This means sharing is restricted to internal users only, mainly for security and compliance reasons. You cannot share the agent with external users, even if they have Microsoft accounts, because they do not belong to your organization's environment. Hence, the only correct option is option A. Let's quickly eliminate the other options. People with personal Microsoft accounts are external, so that's not allowed. Sharing is not limited to Teams channels, so that option is also incorrect. And you definitely cannot share it with just anyone who has an email address. So options B, C, D are ruled out. The correct answer is only the people in your organization. Next question. You receive the following response to a prompt. Sorry, it looks like I can't respond to this. Let's try a different topic. What is the possible cause of the response? And you have four options in front of you. Please go through them by pausing the video. And the correct answer is option B. The prompt contains language that violates safety guidelines. Let's understand why. You entered a prompt and received a response saying, sorry, it looks like I can't respond to this. Let's try a different topic. This is a standard safety response from Microsoft 365 Copilot. It usually means the system has detected something in the prompt that violates its safety or content policies. Copilot is designed to block or refuse responses when the input includes harmful, unsafe, or restricted content. Now let's quickly eliminate the other options. If the prompt is vague, Copilot typically asks for clarification, not refuses it outright. If the prompt has multiple requests, that's usually fine. Copilot can handle that. And if the prompt is too large, the system may truncate it or behave differently, but it won't give this specific safety message. So the correct answer is option B, language that violates safety guidelines. Next question. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. And you have been given three statements which are on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. The correct answers are no for statement 1 and 2 and yes for the third statement. Let's understand why. Statement 1 says you can see only the last 20 conversations in the Copilot desktop app. Well, this is incorrect. While the interface may highlight recent conversations, it is not strictly limited to just 20. So this statement is false. Statement 2 says you can hide conversations but cannot delete them. This is also incorrect. Copilot allows you to delete conversations, not just hide them. Last statement says if you start a conversation in the desktop app, you can continue it in a web browser on another computer. This is correct. Copilot conversations are linked to your account so you can access them across devices. So the final answers are no, no, and yes. Next question. You create a prompt in Microsoft 365 Copilot to help you create a draft project report. You need the prompt to be available in the Copilot prompt gallery. What should you do first? Your options are create a notebook, add an agent, create a page, run the prompt. And the correct answer is run the prompt. Let's understand why. Well, in this case, you created a prompt in Microsoft 365 Copilot and want it to available in the prompt gallery. The key idea here is how prompts get registered and reused. In Copilot, a prompt needs to be executed first before it can be saved or it can appear in the prompt gallery. Running the prompt essentially tells the system that it is a usable interaction that can be reused later. Now let's look at the other options. Creating a notebook is for organizing conversations, not for managing prompts. So first statement, option A is wrong. Adding an agent is for automation specialized tasks. So option B is also incorrect. And creating a page is for content, not for prompt management. So option C is also wrong. So the first step to make your prompt available in the prompt gallery is to run it. So the final answer is option D. Next question. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Again, you have three statements on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video and come back when you're ready with your answers. And the answers are yes. All three statements are indeed true. Let's understand why. Statement 1 says Copilot indicates whether source content has a sensitivity label. This is correct. Copilot can show references in metadata, helping users understand how the data is classified. Statement 2 says Copilot can summarize SharePoint files even if they have sensitivity labels, as long as you have access. This is also correct. Sensitivity labels protect the data but do not prevent Copilot from using it if you have permission. Statement 3 says that when Copilot creates new content based on labeled data, the new content inherits the same sensitivity label. This is again correct. This ensures compliance and data protection policies are maintained. So all three statements are indeed correct. Next question. Select the answer that correctly completes a sentence. When you are creating an agent in Microsoft 365 Copilot,
You can leverage generative AI to build the agent by using, and you have been given four options in a drop down. The options are the Configure tab, a Copilot notebook, a Copilot page, and the Describe tab. The correct answer is the Describe tab. Let's understand why. When you are creating an agent in Microsoft 365 Copilot, there are different ways to configure it. But the question specifically asks where you can leverage generative AI to build the agent. This is where the Describe tab comes in. In the Describe tab, you simply write in natural language what you want the agent to do. Copilot then uses AI to automatically generate the agent's behavior, instructions, and setup. It's the AI driven way of building agents. Now let's look at the other options. First one, the Configure tab is used after the agent is created for manual adjustments. A Copilot notebook is for organizing conversations, not creating agents, and a Copilot page is for content creation. So if you want to use generative AI to build the agent, the correct place is the Describe tab. You have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. You are preparing a business presentation by using Copilot in PowerPoint. Which two tasks can you achieve by using Copilot in PowerPoint? You have been given four options on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video. The correct answers are option B and option D. Let's break down this question step by step. You are using Microsoft 365 Copilot in PowerPoint, and the question is asking which two tasks Copilot can perform. The key idea here is to understand what Copilot is really good at. It focuses on content generation, structuring, and summarization rather than detailed design customization. Now let's evaluate the options. Option B says create a slide layout based on the content of your presentation. This is absolutely correct. Copilot can take a document or prompt and automatically generate slides with proper structure, headings, and layouts. Option D says produce a summary slide based on key points. This is also correct. Copilot can analyze the entire presentation and generate a concise summary, which is very useful for business presentations. Now let's look at the incorrect options. Option A talks about inserting custom animation for specific objects. This is a detailed design task and is not handled by Copilot. Option C is about customizing the design theme to match company branding. While PowerPoint supports themes, Copilot does not automatically apply or create custom branding. So the correct answers are option B and option D. Next question. You use Microsoft 365 Copilot. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. You have three statements on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video. And the correct answers are no, no, and yes. Let's see why. This question is testing your understanding of how Microsoft 365 Copilot handles conversation history, files, and agents. Starting with statement one, it says you can delete your conversation history only if your administrator allows you to do so. This is incorrect. In most cases, users can delete their own Copilot conversations without needing admin approval, although organizations may have retention policies in place. Now, statement two, it says when you delete a conversation, the associated files in SharePoint are also deleted. This is also incorrect. Files stored in SharePoint or OneDrive are independent of the conversation. Deleting the chat does not impact those files. This statement is false. Now, statement three, it says when you uninstall a Copilot agent, all the conversations associated with the agent are retained. This is correct. Removing the agent does not delete your past conversation history. So the final answers are no, no, and yes. Next question. You ask Microsoft 365 Copilot to create a report based on information from the web. You verify the response and discover that some information is fictional. What is this an example of? And your options are deepfake, fabrication, over-reliance, prompt injection, and bias. The correct answer is
You must have got it by now. Yes, it is fabrication. Let's see why. In this scenario, you asked Microsoft 365 Copilot to generate a report using information from the web. And when you verified the output, you found that some of the information was fictional. This is the classic example of fabrication. Fabrication happens when the AI generates content that looks convincing and well structured, but is actually incorrect or made up. The model is essentially filling gaps with plausible sounding information that is not grounded in real data. Now let's quickly look at the other options that are incorrect. Option A, deep fake refers to fake images, videos, or audio that mimic real people, so it does not apply to text-based inaccuracies. Option C, over-reliance is when a user blindly trusts AI without verifying it. In this case, you did verify the content. Option D, prompt injection is a type of attack where malicious input manipulates the AI's behavior, which is not happening here. And lastly, option E, bias refers to unfair or skewed outputs, not fictional information. So the only correct answer is option B, fabrication. Next question. You plan to use a notebook in Microsoft 365 Copilot. What is the purpose of a notebook? You have three options, and the correct answer is option D, to provide a private location that can be used to organize reference materials across related conversations. Let's see why. In Microsoft 365 Copilot, a notebook acts like a centralized workspace where you can store and organize information such as files, notes, and other reference materials. This allows Copilot to use that context across multiple conversations, making its responses more relevant and accurate. Now let's look at why the other options are incorrect. Option A talks about creating a transcript that you can email to others. This is not the purpose of a notebook. Notebooks are not designed for exporting or sharing conversation transcripts. Option C mentions generating summary of all interactions in a conversation. While Copilot can summarize conversations, that functionality is separate from notebooks. So the key idea is that notebooks help you to organize context and materials across conversations. And that is why the correct answer is option B. Next question. From Microsoft 365 Copilot, you add custom instructions. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Again, you have three statements on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video. And the correct answers are yes for statement 1 and no for statement 2 and 3. Let's see why. Statement 1 says the instructions will apply to new chat conversations. This is correct. In Microsoft 365 Copilot, when you define instructions, they are applied to any new conversation you start, ensuring consistent behavior going forward. So this statement is true. Now, statement 2 says the instructions will apply to new conversations with the researcher agent and the analyst agent. This is incorrect. These agents have their own predefined capabilities and may not follow the same custom instructions as standard Copilot chat. So this statement is false. Now, statement 3 says the instructions will apply to previous responses in an existing conversation. This is also incorrect. Instructions do not work retroactively. They only affect future responses, not ones that have already been generated. So this statement is also false. The final answers are yes, no, and no. Next question. You are a medical researcher. You need to ensure that Microsoft 365 Copilot responds to you in a professional manner that is appropriate to your field. What is the best approach to achieve this goal? You have four options. Please go through them. And the correct answer is option B. From settings, configure custom instructions. Let's see why. See, in this scenario, you are a medical researcher and you want Copilot to respond in a professional and domain appropriate manner consistently. The keyword here is consistency across interactions. Custom instructions allow you to define how Copilot should respond, including tone, style, and level of professionalism. Once configured, these instructions apply to your interactions without needing to repeat them every time. Now, let's look at why the other options are not the correct choices. Option A suggests attaching an example in the conversation. This might help for one interaction, but it does not ensure consistency in future conversations. Option C talks about saving a prompt in the prompt gallery. This is useful for reuse, but it does not enforce behavior globally. And option D is Copilot memory. While it helps remember context, it is not specifically meant for controlling tone and professionalism. So the best approach is to configure custom instructions, making B option the correct answer. Next question. From Microsoft 365 Copilot, you add custom instructions. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. And your statements are on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video. And the correct answers are yes for statement 1, no for statement 2, and yes for statement 3. Let's understand why. Statement 1 says you can group conversations into a Microsoft 365 Copilot notebook. This is correct. Notebooks are designed to organize related conversations and materials in one place, which is very useful for ongoing work. So this is true. Statement 2 says you can add a Copilot conversation as a knowledge source to a Copilot agent. This is incorrect. Agents typically use structured sources like documents or connected data, not conversation history. So this is false. Statement 3 says you can add instructions to a Copilot notebook to tell Copilot how to respond. This is correct. Notebooks do allow you to define instructions so that Copilot responds in a way that fits your context and requirements. This statement is true. The final answers are yes, no, and yes. Next question. You are using Microsoft 365 Copilot to enhance your productivity in Microsoft Excel. Which two tasks can you achieve by using Copilot in Excel? Again, you have four options. Please go through them by pausing the video. And the correct answers are option C and option D. Let's understand why. In Copilot for Excel, the focus is on data analysis, automation, and insight generation. Option C says generate a summary of key insights from your data. This is one of Copilot's strongest capabilities. It can analyze your data set and quickly highlight trends, patterns, and important observations. Option D says build a pivot table based on your data. This is also correct. Copilot can create pivot tables using natural language prompts, making it much easier to summarize and analyze data. So options C and D are correct. And let's look at the incorrect options. Option A talks about customizing conditional formatting rules. This is a detailed manual task and not something Copilot primarily handles. Option B is about inserting a custom chart with specific formatting. While Copilot can create charts, detailed formatting still requires manual adjustments. So the correct options are option C and D. Next question. Select the answer that correctly completes a sentence. From Microsoft 365 Copilot, if you want to aggregate data and produce charts from the data, you should use, and we have four options in a drop down: the analyst agent, a notebook, a page, the researcher agent. And the correct answer is the analyst agent. Let's understand why. This question is asking which feature in Microsoft 365 Copilot you should use if you want to aggregate data and produce charts. This is clearly a data analysis task, and that is exactly what the analyst agent is designed for. It can process structured data, perform aggregations, and generate visualizations like charts. Now let's look at the other options. A notebook is used to organize materials and context across conversations and not for performing analysis. A page is just a workspace and does not have specialized capabilities. And the researcher agent is focused on gathering and summarizing information from different sources, not on structured data analysis. So the correct answer is the analyst agent. Next question. You are creating an agent in Microsoft 365 Copilot app. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. And the statements are given on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video and come back when you are ready with the answers. And the answers are no for statement 1, yes for statement 2, and no for statement 3. Let's understand why. See, statement 1 says you can configure the agent to search shared mailboxes. Well, this is incorrect. Copilot agents do not directly use shared mailboxes as a configurable data source. Statement 2 says you can use natural language prompts to create the agent. This is correct. One of the key strengths of Copilot is that you can describe what you want in plain English and it helps you to create the agent. Statement 3 says you can configure the agent to use another agent as a knowledge source. Well, this is incorrect. Agents work independently and rely on defined data sources like files or connectors, not other agents. So the correct answers are no, yes, and no. You are using Microsoft 365 Copilot to enhance your productivity in Microsoft Teams. Which two tasks can you achieve by using Copilot in Teams? You have been given four options on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answers are options C and D. Let's understand why. Copilot is mainly focused on helping with communication, summarization, and content generations. Option C says create a meeting summary including key decisions and action items. This is absolutely correct. Copilot can analyze meetings and generate summaries that highlight important points and next steps. Option D says draft a response to a channel message based on the context. This is also correct. Copilot can understand the conversation and suggest replies, saving time and improving productivity. Now let's eliminate the other options. Option A talks about muting and unmuting participants based on location. That's not something Copilot does. Option B is about creating custom background for video calls. That's a Teams feature, but not a Copilot capability. The correct answers are options C and D. Next question. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Once again, you have been given three statements on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answers are no for statements 1 and 2 and yes for statement 3. Let's understand why. See, statement 1 says Microsoft 365 Copilot uses your business data to train underlying AI models. This is incorrect. Your data stays within your organization and not used to train the models. This is important for privacy and compliance. So the first statement is false. Statement 2 says Copilot automatically assigns permissions to resources. This is once again incorrect. Copilot does not modify or grant permissions. It only respects the permissions that are already configured in Microsoft 365. Statement 3 says Copilot uses the same underlying data access controls as other Microsoft 365 services. This is correct. Copilot ensures that users only see information that they already have access to. So the correct answers are no, no, and yes. Next question. Again, you have been given three statements. You need to check if the statement is true or false. Please go through the statements by pausing the video over here. And the correct answers are no for statement 1, yes for statement 2, and no for statement 3. Let's understand why. The statement 1 says that agents that you create are automatically shared with users in your organization. This is incorrect. By default, agents are private and must be explicitly shared. Statement 2 says that you can interact with agents using Microsoft Teams. This is correct. Teams is one of the main places where you can use Copilot agents in real world collaboration. Statement 3 says that if you share the agent, the user can modify the agent instructions. This is incorrect. Users can interact with the agent, but they cannot change the instructions unless they have special permissions. So the correct answers are no, yes, and no. Next question. You have a Microsoft Excel workbook open that contains a table. The table contains sales data and the following columns: order date, order number, amount. You plan to use Copilot in Excel to generate a monthly summary of the sales data in that table. What should you include in the prompt to generate an effective summary? And here you have 5 options. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answer is option D, the clear goal of the summary. Let's understand why. When working with Microsoft Copilot in Excel, the most important factor is how clearly you define your intent. In this case, you want a monthly summary of the sales data. If your prompt clearly states that goal, Copilot can automatically analyze the table, group the data by month, and generate the summary. Now let's look at the other options. Option A talks about specifying the format. While that can help with presentation, it is not the most important factor. Option B that mentions about providing a cell range. Copilot can already detect and understand tables, so this is not required. Option C is the file name, which has no relevance to the task. Option E suggests providing a formula, but Copilot can generate formulas automatically. So the key takeaway is that a clear goal drives better results, making D the correct answer. Next question. You create an agent in Microsoft 365 Copilot app by using a template. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Again, you have 3 statements. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answers are no for statement 1 and yes for statements 2 and 3. Let's understand why. See, statement 1 says you can share the agent with external users. This is incorrect. Microsoft 365 Copilot restricts agent sharing to within the organizations for security and compliance reasons. Statement 2 says you can choose which knowledge sources the agent can use. This is correct. When you configure an agent, you can define the data sources it should rely on, such as files or connectors. Statement 3 says you can share the agent with users in your organization. This is also correct. Internal sharing is supported so others can use the agent. Hence, the correct answers are no, yes, and yes. Next question. You are creating a custom agent in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app for the marketing team at your company. The agent will be used to produce marketing collateral, including copy, logos, and artwork. What should you add to the agent? And your options are code interpreter, image generator, a suggested prompt, and a template. And the correct answer is an image generator. Let's understand why. In this scenario, you are building a custom agent for a marketing team, and the key requirement is to produce marketing collateral, including logos and artwork. To generate visual content like logos and graphics, the agent needs image generation capability. That is exactly what an image generator provides. So the correct answer is option B. But let's look at the other options. Option A is a code interpreter. This is used for running code and handling data, not for creating visuals. Option C is the suggested prompt. This only helps guide users but does not add functionality. And option D is a template. Templates help structure content but cannot generate images. So to enable the agent to create logos and artwork, the correct answer is B, image generator. Next question. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. And you have been given 3 options. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answers are yes, no, and yes. Let's understand why. Statement 1 says scheduled prompts can be web grounded. This is correct. Copilot can use web data to enhance responses, even when prompts are scheduled. Statement 2 says scheduled prompts can run a maximum of once per day. This is incorrect. While some people may argue that once per day is correct, but see, the question over here is talking about the maximum frequency. So once per day is not the only frequency. You can schedule prompts to run once a week or multiple times during the week on various weekdays. So saying that scheduled prompts can run a maximum of only once per day is incorrect. There are other frequencies also available, like once a week or on the weekdays. Statement 3 says scheduled prompts can run up to a maximum of 15 times. This is correct. There is a limit to ensure controlled usage. This limit is designed to prevent set and forget automation, forcing users to review if the prompt is still useful or needs to be updated for changing work patterns. And this 15 run limit applies regardless of whether the schedule is daily, weekly, or monthly. So the final answers are yes, no, and yes. Next question. What are the two limitations of prompt scheduling in Microsoft 365 Copilot? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. You have been given basically two questions. First one is you can schedule the prompt to run as often as once hour, once per day, once per week. And the second part is the maximum number of times a scheduled prompt can run is 15 times, 365 times, or unlimited. The correct answers are for the first part, it's once per day. You can schedule the prompt to run as often as once per day. And for the second part, the maximum times that a scheduled prompt can run is 15 times. Let's understand why. See, in Microsoft 365 Copilot, prompt scheduling has specific limitations to ensure controlled usage. One limitation is that scheduled prompts can run as frequently as once per day, which means you cannot configure them to run more frequently, such as hourly. Once per week is incorrect because although it is a valid schedule, it is not the maximum allowed frequency and therefore not a limitation. The maximum allowed frequency is once per day. To the second part, the limitation on scheduling a prompt can run only up to a maximum of 15 times. This, as we understood in the last question, this restricts how many total executions can occur for a scheduled prompt, helping manage system usage and prevent excessive automation. If you talk about the incorrect options, 365 times is incorrect because system enforces a much lower execution cap, and unlimited is obviously incorrect because scheduled prompts have a defined execution limit and cannot run indefinitely. Next question, you are evaluating the features of Microsoft 365 Copilot notebooks. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Again, we have three statements. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answers are, let's understand why. Statement 1 says you can create an agent from a notebook. This is incorrect. Notebooks are used to organize context and materials, not to create agents. Statement 2 says you can generate an audio overview of a notebook. This is correct. Copilot can summarize notebook content and even present it in an audio format. And statement 3 says Copilot continually adds new references to notebooks. This is also correct. As you work, Copilot can help enrich the notebook with additional relevant context. So the correct answers are no, yes, and yes. Next question. Use Microsoft 365 Copilot. Which two factors should you consider when creating an effective prompt? You have five options in front of you. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answers are Options B, providing a clear goal in the prompt, and option D, adding context to the prompt. Let's understand why. When working with Microsoft 365 Copilot, the quality of your prompt directly impacts the quality of the output. Option B talks about providing a clear goal. This is essential. If Copilot knows exactly what you want, it can generate a much more accurate and useful response. Option D is about adding context. This is equally important. Context helps Copilot understand the background and produce more relevant results. Now let's look at the incorrect options. Option A suggests using acronyms. This can create confusion unless the acronym is very clear. And option C says keep the prompt generic. This actually reduces effectiveness. Option E suggests adding a broad range of instructions, which can make the prompt unclear. So the key takeaway is clarity and context, making B and D the correct answers. A colleague from another company shares a link to a prompt. When you select the link, you receive the following response: prompt not found. Sorry, it looks like the prompt is no longer available. What is the possible cause of the response? You have been given 5 options on your screen. Please go through them. And the correct answer is option B. The prompt is outside your organization. Let's understand why. Well, you received a prompt link from someone in another company, and when you opened it, you saw the message prompt not found. This usually happens due to access boundaries in Microsoft 365. Prompts are typically shared within the same organization, meaning within the same tenant. If the prompt belongs to another organization, you won't have permission to access it, and the system responds as if the prompt does not exist. Now let's eliminate the other options. Option A says the prompt is outdated. That does not make it unavailable. Option C says the prompt references a file you don't have access to. In that case, the prompt would still open, but the file would be restricted. Option D says it is a scheduled prompt that does not affect accessibility. And option E mentions sensitivity labels. Those restrict data access, not the prompt itself. So the correct answer is B. The prompt is outside of your organization. Next question. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. You have been given 3 statements on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answers are all the 3 statements are indeed true. Let's understand how. See, prompt injection is a type of security risk in generative AI systems where malicious input is used to influence the model's behavior. Take a look at statement 1. Statement 1 says prompt injection can cause data exposure and unintended system behavior. This is correct. Attackers can manipulate inputs to bypass safeguards or extract sensitive information. Statement 2 says prompt injection can embed malicious or harmful instructions. This is also correct. These instructions can change how the AI behaves. Statement 3 says prompt injection is a vulnerability unique to Gen AI systems that process natural language. This is correct as well because these systems rely heavily on interpreting user input. So the correct answers are yes to all 3 statements. Next question. Select the answer that correctly completes a sentence. If you start a temporary chat in Microsoft 365 Copilot and then start a new chat, all prompts and responses from the temporary chat will be, and your options in a drop-down box are deleted immediately, deleted after 1 hour, move to a private notebook, or move to your Microsoft OneDrive. The correct answer is deleted immediately. Let's understand why. In Microsoft 365 Copilot, a temporary chat is meant for short-term use. It is designed to ensure privacy and prevent any long-term storage of the conversation. Once you start a new chat, everything from the temporary chat is cleared right away. It is not saved or retained. Now let's look at the other options. Deleted after 1 hour is incorrect because there is no delay. The deletion happens immediately. Move to a private notebook is also incorrect. Temporary chats are not stored anywhere. Move to OneDrive is also incorrect since chat data is not saved there. So the correct answer is deleted immediately. Next question. You're creating a prompt in Microsoft 365 Copilot to get information about a proposal. You need to ensure that the response is grounded in the proposal's information. What is the best approach to achieve the goal? You have four options on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. The correct answer is option C, reference the proposal content in the prompt. Let's understand why. Well, in this case, you want the response to be grounded in the proposal's information. Grounding means the answer should come directly from a specific source, not from general knowledge or assumptions. So the best way to achieve this is to explicitly reference the proposal in your prompt. This tells Copilot to use that content as the basis for its response. Now look at the other options. Option A talks about the audience that affects tone, not accuracy. Option B suggests relying on training data, which can lead to incorrect or made up details. Option D is about setting a goal that helps structure the task but does not ensure grounding. So the correct answer is C. Next question. Again, you have three statements and you have to tell whether they are true or false. Please go through the statement by pausing the video over here. The correct answers are yes for statement 1, no for statement 2, and yes for statement 3. Let's understand why. See, statement 1 says you can review Copilot activity history from the My Account portal. This is correct. It provides visibility into your past interactions. Statement 2 says deleting activity history also deletes notebooks and pages. This is incorrect. These are separate and are not affected. Statement 3 says users can delete their entire activity history, including prompts and responses. This is correct and supports user control over data. So the correct answers are yes, no, and yes. Next question. You need to access Microsoft 365 Copilot from a web browser. Which URL should you use? Again, you have four options and you need to find the correct answer. And the correct answer is option A. Let's understand why. The question is asking where you can access Microsoft 365 Copilot from a web browser. Microsoft provides a unified portal for accessing Copilot and other Microsoft 365 apps, and that is m365.cloud.microsoft URL. This is the correct entry point for using Copilot in a browser. Now let's eliminate the other options. Copilot Studio is used for building and managing agents, not for general Copilot usage. So this is ruled out. My Apps is for accessing enterprise applications, not specifically Copilot. And the last one, My Account is for managing your profile and security settings, not for accessing Microsoft 365 Copilot. So the correct answer is indeed A, m365.cloud.microsoft. Next question. Again, you have three statements. You need to find out if they are true or false. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answer is all three statements are true. Let's go through each statement. Statement 1 says Copilot can use its own model knowledge. This is correct. It uses its trained knowledge to enhance responses. Statement 2 says Copilot can use business data. This is also correct. It can pull context from your organization data like files and emails. Statement 3 says Copilot can use the latest information from the web. This is also correct when web grounding is enabled. Simple question. So yeah, so the correct answers are all three statements are indeed true. Next question. You have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. You plan to run several prompts. What should you use to ensure that the Copilot generates the best response for each prompt? And you have been given three prompts, and for the three prompts, you have been given three options each: the analyst agent, chat, the researcher agent. Please go through the question by pausing the video over here. And the correct answers are: for prompt 1, it is the researcher agent; for prompt 2, it is the analyst agent; and for prompt 3, it is chat. Let's understand why. See, prompt 1 is about comparing two companies, including sources and insights. This is a research heavy task. So best choice is definitely the researcher agent. Prompt 2 involves working with Excel files, creating pivot tables, and analyzing trends. This is clearly you got it, a data analysis task. So the analyst agent is the right choice. Prompt 3 is about generating an action plan from a meeting chat. This is a conversational and contextual task. So chat is the best fit over here. So the correct mapping is researcher agent for prompt 1, analyst agent for prompt 2, and chat for prompt 3. Next question. You have an open Microsoft Word document that has a sensitivity label named highly confidential applied. From Microsoft PowerPoint, you plan to use Copilot to generate a presentation of the Word document. What will be the result? You have four options on your screen, and the correct answer is option D. Copilot will generate the presentation and apply the highly confidential label. Let's understand why. See, in Microsoft 365 Copilot, sensitivity labels are a key part of data protection. When you use a labeled document to generate new content, the label is automatically carried forward. So if your Word document is marked as highly confidential, the PowerPoint presentation created from it will also have the same label. Now let's eliminate the other options. Copilot will not remove the label, so option A is incorrect. It will not ask you to choose a label, so option B is incorrect. And it will not block the operation, so option C is also incorrect. So the correct answer is option D. You need to ensure that Copilot responds to you in a professional manner that is appropriate to your field. What is the best approach to achieve the goal? You have four options. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answer is option D. From settings, configure custom instructions. Let's understand why. You want Copilot to consistently respond in a professional manner that aligns with your field. This means you need a persistent setting, not something temporary. Option D, configuring custom instructions from settings is the best approach. It allows you to define tone, style, and preferences so that every response follows a professional standard. So option D is correct. Let's quickly review the other options. Option A, Copilot memory. It stores context but does not directly control tone. Option B, saving a prompt to the prompt gallery. Well, that helps reuse prompts but does not enforce consistent behavior. And option C, attaching an example in a prompt. That works only for that particular interaction and it is also not scalable. So the correct option is option D. You run a saved prompt and receive the following response. You asked for a summary of file.docx. However, the file appears to be either empty, corrupted, or in a format that I cannot process. What is the possible cause for the response? You have four options. The first one, you did not schedule the prompt to run. You ran the prompt from a web app instead of a desktop app. You used the wrong agent to run the prompt, or you do not have access to the file. The correct answer is option D, you do not have access to the file. Let's understand why. The error message says the file appears to be empty, corrupted, or in an unsupported format. This often happens when Copilot cannot actually access the file content. If you don't have permission to open the file, Copilot also won't be able to read it and it may return a generic message like this. Now let's look at other options. Scheduling the prompt has nothing to do with file access. Using a web app versus desktop also does not affect this. And using the wrong agent would not produce this kind of file related error. So the most likely cause is that you do not have access to the file, making D the correct answer. Next question. You have a Microsoft 365 subscription. You do not have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. You have three statements on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. The correct answer is yes for statements 1 and 2 and no for statement 3. Let's understand why. Statement 1 says Copilot chat lets you upload document from your local computer. This is correct. You can upload files to provide context for your prompts. Statement 2 says Copilot chat is included with Microsoft 365 Business Standard. This is also correct. Statement 3 says Copilot chat lets you create and use agents that can access SharePoint folders. This is incorrect. Agent creation and advanced integrations are handled through Copilot Studio, not standard chat. So the correct answers are yes, yes, and no. Next question. You are using Copilot to plan a trip and have asked Copilot to remember several details about the trip. You cancel the trip plans. You need to ensure that Copilot forgets the details. What should you do? Option A, from the My Account portal, delete the Copilot activity history. Option B, from Copilot, delete memories. Option C, from Copilot, delete custom instructions. Option D, from Copilot, delete all the conversation about the trip. And the correct answer is option B, from Copilot, delete memories. Let's understand why. In this scenario, you asked Copilot to remember specific details about your trip. That means those details are stored in Copilot memory. If you want Copilot to forget them, you need to remove them from memory, not just delete the chat. Now let's look at other options. Deleting activity history removes past chats but not stored memory. Deleting custom instructions affects behavior, not stored details. And deleting the conversation also does not guarantee that memory is cleared. So the only correct way is to delete the stored memories directly, making B the correct answer. Next question. You need to improve prompt grounding during a Copilot conversation. What is the best approach to achieve the goal? And your options are use shorter prompts, provide the desired output format, avoid technical jargon, or reference specific files. And the correct answer is option D, reference specific files. Let's understand why. Prompt grounding is all about making sure Copilot uses the right source of information rather than relying on general knowledge. When you reference specific files in your prompt, you are explicitly telling Copilot where to get the information from. This makes the response more accurate and reliable. Hence, option D is correct. Now, let's look at other options. Using shorter prompts improves clarity but does not help with grounding. Providing output format helps structure the response but not the source. And avoiding technical jargon improves readability, not grounding. So the best way to improve grounding is to reference specific files, making D the correct answer. Next question. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Again, you have three statements. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answer is all the three statements are false. Let's understand why. Well, statement one says that when grounded in web data, responses will always be identical. This is absolutely incorrect because web data can change and Copilot may use different sources. Statement 2 says that when grounded in your own data, responses will always be identical. This is also incorrect. Even with the same data, the way Copilot interprets the prompt can vary. Statement 3 says that when using only modern knowledge, responses will always be identical. This is also incorrect because AI models are probabilistic and can generate slightly different outputs each time. So the correct answers are all three statements are false, hence no for all. Next question. You have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. You plan to run several prompts. What should you use to ensure that Copilot generates the best response for each prompt? You have been given three prompts and you have the options to choose three agents: the analyst agent, chat, or the researcher agent. Please go through the prompts by pausing the video over here. And the correct answers are: for prompt 1, the analyst agent is best; for prompt 2, the researcher agent; and for prompt 3, chat serves the best purpose. Let's understand why. See, prompt 1 involves working with Excel data, performing sentiment analysis, and creating visualizations. This is a data heavy task, so obviously the analyst agent is the right choice. Prompt 2 combines SharePoint data with web sources and requires citations and insights. This is a research task, so the research agent is the best fit. Prompt 3 is about drafting a polished executive email from a document. This is a writing and summarization task, so chat is ideal. So the correct mapping is: for prompt 1, analyst agent; for prompt 2, researcher agent; and for prompt 3, it is chat. Next question. Select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. From Microsoft 365 Copilot, you can use dash, and your options in the drop-down box are agent settings, capabilities, instructions, suggested prompts. To help users begin conversation with an agent and guide them to use the agent more effectively. The correct answer is suggested prompts. Let's understand why. The question is asking what helps users begin conversations with an agent and guide them to use it effectively. Suggested prompts are designed exactly for this purpose. They provide example questions or starting points so users know how to interact with the agent. Now let's eliminate the other options. Agent settings are used for configuration, not for guiding users. Capabilities describe what the agent can do, but they don't help users start conversations. And instructions control how the agent behaves, not how users interact with it. So the correct answer is suggested prompts. Next question. Select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. Again, you have been given a statement. Let's go through it. You are using Microsoft 365 Copilot during a Microsoft Teams meeting. After the meeting, you can only dash if the meeting was transcribed. And your options are: schedule a follow-up meeting, create a summary of the meeting chat, identify content that was attached to the meeting, generate a recap of what was discussed during the meeting. The correct answer is generate a recap of what was discussed during the meeting. Let's understand why. In Teams, Copilot can generate summaries and recaps based on the meeting transcript. The transcript captures everything that was said during the meeting. If the meeting is not transcribed, Copilot does not have access to the spoken content, so it cannot generate a recap. Now let's look at other options. Scheduling a follow-up meeting does not depend on transcription. Summarizing the meeting chat is based on chat messages, not the transcript. And identifying attachments is independent of transcription. So the correct answer is generating a recap, which requires the meeting to be transcribed. Next question. You use Copilot to create a proposal in Word based on a document in SharePoint library. You need to ensure that the information cited in the proposal is accurate. What is the best approach to achieve the goal? And you have been given four options. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answer is option D, manually verify the citations in the generated content. Let's understand why. Even though Copilot is powerful, it can sometimes generate incorrect or fabricated references. So when accuracy is critical, especially in proposals, you should always verify citations yourself. Manual verification ensures that the information is correct and properly sourced. Now let's look at other options. Creating an agent with editorial standards helps with consistency, not accuracy. Using Copilot to verify its own output is not reliable. And using a notebook helps organize content but does not validate it. So the safest and the best approach is manual verification, making D the correct answer. Next question, you are comparing the difference between Copilot and Copilot Chat. What is available in both the versions? The researcher agent, Copilot pages, and Copilot notebooks. The correct answer is option B, Copilot pages. Let's understand the question. You are comparing Copilot with Copilot Chat, and the question is asking which feature is available in both the versions. The key idea here is that Copilot Chat is a lighter experience, while Copilot includes deeper integrations and advanced features. Now, Copilot Pages is a shared workspace where you can organize and refine AI generated content. This feature is available in both Copilot Chat and full Copilot experience, making it the correct answer. Now, let's look at other options. The researcher agent is more advanced capability that is part of Copilot, but it's not available in Copilot Chat. Similarly, Copilot notebooks are also part of the full Copilot experience and not included in Copilot Chat. So when comparing both the versions, the common feature is Copilot pages. Hence, the correct answer is option B. You receive several images from a colleague. You suspect that the images were generated by using Microsoft 365 Copilot. What can you use to verify whether the images were AI generated? And your options are file names, watermarks, content credentials, or file descriptions. And the correct answer is content credentials. Let's understand why. In this scenario, you have received some images and you suspect they were generated using Copilot. The question is asking how you can verify if they are AI generated. The most reliable way is through content credentials. These are metadata attached to the image that provide information about its origin, including whether AI tools were used to create or modify it. This is part of responsible AI practices to ensure transparency. Now let's look at other options. File names are not reliable because they can be changed easily and do not reflect how the image was created. Watermarks are also not dependable because not all AI generated images include them. They can be removed. File descriptions can be manually edited and therefore cannot be trusted as proved. So the correct answer is option C, content credentials. Next question. You open Microsoft 365 Copilot as shown in the following exhibit. You have a screenshot on your screen, and to the right side of the screen, you have a question. What can you infer about the standings conversation? You can see the standings conversation over here, and you have five options. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answer is option E, the conversation was shared. Let's understand why. You are given an exhibit of Copilot and you need to identify what can be inferred about the standings conversation. The key here is to carefully observe the icons and indicators shown in the interface. Next to the standing conversation, there is a small icon that represents sharing. In Copilot, these icons provide metadata about the conversation, such as whether it has been shared. Since this indicator is present, we can conclude that the conversation has been shared with other users. Now let's quickly eliminate the other options. Option A is incorrect because there is no indication that the data is anonymous. Option B is incorrect because there is no verification or shield icon. Option C is incorrect because there is no sign that the conversation is part of a notebook. And option D is incorrect because there is no indication of a scheduled prompt. So the correct answer is option E, the conversation was shared. Next question. You are a marketing assistant preparing for a budget meeting with your manager. You need to evaluate key spending and performance trends from the last year to understand which marketing channels deliver the best return on investment, ROI. What should you use in Copilot to achieve the goal? And your options are the analyst agent, chat, the researcher agent, or a notebook. The correct answer is the analyst agent. Let's understand why. See, in this scenario, you are a marketing assistant preparing for a budget meeting, and your goal is to evaluate spending and performance trends from the past year. You also want to identify which marketing channels are delivering the best return on investment. This is clearly a data analysis problem. Now, in Copilot, the analyst agent is specially designed for this kind of task only. It helps you to analyze structured data, identify trends, and generate insights, which makes it the perfect fit for evaluating ROI and performance metrics. Now, let's look at other options why they are incorrect. Chat is a general purpose interface, but it does not provide deep analytical capabilities like the analyst agent. The researcher agent is more focused on gathering information from different sources, especially external data, and not analyzing internal performance data. And a notebook is mainly for organizing and storing information, so not for performing analysis. So the best choice here is A, the analyst agent. Next question. You create a Copilot notebook and add a file named process.docx from a SharePoint site as a reference. Yesterday, a user updated process.docx in the SharePoint site. What will occur when you chat in the notebook? Your options are a chat will reference only the original version of the file, a chat will reference the most recent version of the file, or the chat will reference both versions of process.docx. What do you think? All right, the correct answer is option B. The chat will reference the most recent version of process.docx. Let's understand why. See, you created a Copilot notebook and added a document from a SharePoint as a reference. Then the document was updated by another user. Now, the key question is what happens when you chat in the notebook? The important concept here is that Copilot notebooks do not store static copies of files. Instead, they maintain a live reference to the document when it is uploaded from SharePoint. So when the document gets updated, Copilot automatically works with the latest version. That's why the correct answer is that the chat will reference the most recent version of the file. Now let's eliminate the other options. Option A says it will only reference the original version. That's incorrect because Copilot does not lock to an old snapshot. Option C says it will reference both the versions. That's also incorrect because Copilot does not automatically use version history unless explicitly requested. So the correct answer is option B, the most recent version is used. All right, now here is an important comparison that often comes up in exams. There is a similar type of question where instead of adding the file from SharePoint, you upload the file from your local system. In that case, Copilot works with a static copy of the file. Even if the original file changes later on the machine, Copilot will still use the original uploaded version. So remember this key distinction. SharePoint or OneDrive reference means dynamic, always latest version, and local file upload means static snapshot, no automatic updates. Next question. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Again, you have three statements on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answers are yes for statement 1, no for statement 2, and yes for statement 3. Let's understand why. See, statement 1 says Copilot uses contextual information from your organization to suggest prompts. This is correct. Copilot leverages your emails, documents, meetings, and chats to recommend relevant prompts, making it easier to get started. Statement 2 says Copilot uses your organizational data to train the large language model. This is incorrect. Microsoft ensures that your data stays within your tenant and is not used to train or improve the base AI models. This is a key privacy and security principle. Please remember that. Statement 3 says Copilot uses contextual information to augment the prompt before sending it to the model. This is also correct. This process is known as grounding, where Copilot enriches your prompt with relevant organizational data to generate more accurate responses. So remember this clearly. Copilot uses your data to assist you in real time, but not to train the model. Hence the answers are yes, no, and yes. Next question. You have a Copilot conversation as shown in the following exhibit. We have a screenshot. And the question is, use the drop-down menus to answer the answer choice that completes the statement based on the information presented in the graphic. Doc1.docx, and the options are, is in a notebook, has sensitivity label applied, is not a supported file type, and is not accessible outside of your organization. And the correct answer is, has a sensitivity label applied. Let's understand. You are given a Copilot conversation and you need to infer something based on the document based on the visual indicators. The key detail here is the icon shown next to Copilot. Please take a look at that. You can see there is a shield icon with a lock symbol over here. In Microsoft 365, this icon represents a sensitivity label. Sensitivity labels are used to classify and protect documents based on how sensitive the information is. So when you see this icon, it clearly indicates that the document has a sensitivity level applied. Now let's eliminate other options. There is no indication that the document is part of a notebook. The file type is .docx, which is fully supported. So the option that the file is not supported is also incorrect. And regarding the last option, there is no explicit sign that document cannot be accessed outside the organization. So the only correct inference is that the document has a sensitivity label applied. Next question. You plan to summarize a proposal for a partnership between your company and another company. You need to use Copilot to summarize the information in the proposal as a bulleted list of 3 to 5 key points for a project kickoff meeting. Each bullet point must be concise and simply worded. Which two details should you include in the prompt? And the options have been given on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answer is option C and options D. Let's understand why. In this question, you are using Copilot to summarize the proposal into a concise bulleted list for a project kickoff meeting. Now, when writing an effective prompt, two things are critical: grounding and clear instructions. Option C talks about providing a specific knowledge source. This is important because it ensures Copilot is working from the correct proposal content. It reduces errors and keeps the summary accurate. Option D is about giving concise instructions. This is equally important. You need to clearly tell Copilot to create 3 to 5 bullet points. Keep them concise and use simple wording. This directly shapes the output. Now let's eliminate the other options. Option A includes contact details of stakeholders, which are not relevant to summarizing the proposal. And option B suggests using profiles from the researcher agent, which is unnecessary since you already have the proposal. So the correct answers are options C and D. Next question, select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. You generate a report by using the researcher agent in Copilot. You can use
There's a dash and your drop down box in the options are an agent, a conversation, a notebook, and a page to save and edit the response. And the correct answer is a page. Let's understand why. You are using the researcher agent in Copilot to generate a report. Now the question is asking where you can save and edit that response. The key concept here is Copilot pages. A page acts as a persistent workspace where you can take AI generated content and continue working on it. You can edit it, refine it, and even collaborate with others. So once the researcher agent generates the report, you move it into a page to work on it further. Now let's look at other options. An agent is used to generate the content, not to store or edit it. A conversation only keeps the chat history and is not ideal for structured editing. The last option regarding a notebook is a different feature and not the correct answer in this context. So the correct answer is a page. Next question. Again, you have been given a statement and you need to choose one of the options from the drop-down box. The statement is from the Microsoft 365 My Account portal. If you select delete history for Copilot activity, you can delete. And your options are a specific conversation, a specific date range of activity, all Microsoft 365 Copilot activity, or all conversation within the specific agent. And the correct answer is all Microsoft 365 Copilot activity. Let's understand why. See, the question is about what happens when you go to the Microsoft 365 My Account portal and choose to delete history for Copilot activity. This setting is designed to clear your entire Copilot activity history. It is not a granular delete option. You cannot pick and choose specific conversations or filter by date. So when you select this option, it deletes all Copilot related activity associated with their account. Now let's look at other options. First one, you cannot delete just a specific conversation from this portal setting. Second one, you also cannot select a specific date range. And the last one, you cannot delete conversation tied to a specific agent only. So the action is broad and applies to everything. Hence, the correct answer is all Microsoft 365 Copilot activity. Next question. You are creating a custom analytics agent in the Copilot app. The agent will use Excel files that contain sales data as knowledge. You need to ensure that the agent can create visualizations, perform mathematical operations, create aggregations, and analyze the data in the files. What should you add to the agent? And your options are a suggested prompt, code interpreter, image generator, or a template. And the correct answer is code interpreter. Let's understand why. See, in this case, you are building a custom analytics agent in Copilot, and this agent needs to work with Excel files containing sales data. The requirements are very clear. The agent must be able to create visualizations, perform mathematical operations, create aggregations, and analyze the data. Now, think about what capability enables all of this. It is the ability to actually process data and run calculations. This is exactly what the code interpreter does. It allows the agent to execute code, analyze data sets, perform calculations, and even generate charts and visualizations. Now let's quickly eliminate the other options. First one, a suggested prompt only helps guide how users interact with the agent. It does not add analytical capability. Third one, an image generator is used for creating images, not for working with Excel data. The last one, a template just provides a structure but does not enable data processing or analysis. So the only option that satisfies all the requirement is option B, code interpreter. You are a merchandiser who is planning for the upcoming season. You prompt Copilot to suggest which products to stock based on historical sales data. Without reviewing the suggestions or checking current market trends, you place a large order based solely on the output of Copilot. What is this an example of? And your options are verification, over-reliance, fabrication, or prompt injection. And the correct answer is option B, over-reliance. Let's understand why. See, you are a merchandiser planning for the upcoming season and you are using Copilot to suggest which products to stock.
Now, here's the key part. Without reviewing the suggestions or checking current market trends, you have placed a large order purely based on Copilot's output. This is a classic case of over-reliance. Over-reliance happens when users trust AI-generated content without validating it. Even though Copilot can provide useful insights, it is still important to apply human judgment and verify the recommendations before making critical business decisions. Now let's eliminate the other options. Verification would mean you actually check the output before acting, which you did not do. Fabrication would mean the AI generated false or made up information, which is not mentioned over here. And prompt injection is a security attack scenario, which is also not relevant to the problem at hand. And the correct answer is B, over reliance. Next question. Select the answer that correctly completes a sentence. Dash in Copilot ensures that business data stays within a Microsoft 365 tenant and is not used to train AI models. And your options are the common data model, EDP, enterprise data protection, sensitivity labels, and zero trust. And the correct answer is enterprise data protection, EDP. Let's understand why. The question asks which feature in Copilot ensures that business data stays within the M365 tenant and is not used to train AI models. This is a key concept around data privacy and security in Copilot. EDP is specifically designed to ensure that your organization data is protected. It makes sure that prompts, responses, and business data remain within your tenant boundary and are not used to train the underlying AI models. Now let's look at the other options. The common data model is about structuring data, not protecting it in this context. Sensitivity labels help classify and protect data, but they do not control whether data is used for AI training. Zero Trust is a broader security framework focused on access control, not specifically co-pilot data handling. So the correct answer is Enterprise Data Protection, EDP. Next question. You have several pages in Copilot related to the research you are doing for a new product. You need to simplify your ability to have many different Copilot conversations about the pages. What should you do first? And your options are create a story, add the pages to a notebook, add the pages to a conversation, download the pages locally. And the correct answer is option D, add the pages to a notebook. Let's understand why. See, in this case, the question says you have multiple pages in Copilot related to the research for a new product, and you want to simplify how you can have multiple conversations about that content. The key idea here is organization and reusability of context. Copilot notebooks allow you to group related pages together and use them as a shared knowledge base. Once you add pages to a notebook, you can run multiple conversations against the same structured content without repeating yourself. Now let's look at the other options. First one, creating a story is more about presenting content, not organizing it for multiple conversations. Adding pages to a conversation limits you to just one conversation thread. Downloading pages locally does not help Copilot understand or use that content. So the best first step is to add the pages to a notebook. Hence the correct answer is option B. Next question. You use Copilot. You discover that you had a conversation that you used a knowledge source that contains confidential information. You need to delete the conversation data without requiring administrative approval. You must retain your other conversations if possible. What should you use? The options are M365 Admin Center, the My Account portal in Copilot, the Microsoft Purview Compliance portal, the M365 Copilot app. And the correct answer is option D, the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. Let's understand why. See, in this case, you have a Copilot conversation that used confidential information, and now you want to delete only that specific conversation. At the same time, you want to keep your other conversations and avoid involving an administrator. This is the key point, selective deletion without admin approval. That's what you want to do over here. The Copilot app allows users to manage their own conversation history. You can go into the app, locate the specific conversation, and delete it without affecting other conversations. Now let's eliminate the other options.
The M365 Admin Center is meant for administrators, not end users, so that is not suitable. The My Account portal is used for personal account settings, not Copilot conversation management. And the Purview Compliance portal is used for compliance and governance tasks that typically requires admin involvement. It's not meant for simple user level deletion of a single conversation. So the best and correct answer is D, the M365 Copilot app. Next question. You use Copilot, you need to delete all your conversation by using the least amount of effort. What is the best approach to achieve the goal? Your options are the Copilot web app, the My Account portal in M365, the M365 Copilot desktop app, or the settings app in Windows 11. The correct answer is option B, the My Account portal in Microsoft 365. Let's understand why. See, in this question, you need to delete all your Copilot conversations, and the key phrase is that with the least amount of effort. Now, think about the difference between deleting one conversation versus deleting everything. If you use the Copilot web app or desktop app, you would typically have to delete conversations one by one. That clearly takes more effort. But the My Account portal is designed for managing your personal data and privacy settings. It allows you to perform bulk actions, including deleting all your activity or conversation history in one go. Now let's quickly eliminate the other options. The Copilot web app and desktop app are more suited for individual conversation management, not bulk deletion. And the Windows 11 settings app has nothing to do with Copilot data. So the most effective approach requiring the least effort is the My Account portal. Next question. You're creating an agent in the M365 Copilot app. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. You have been given 3 statements on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. The correct answers are no for statement 1, yes for statement 2, and no for statement 3. Let's understand why. Okay, statement 1 says you can configure the agent to search shared mailboxes. This is not correct. Copilot agents do not allow direct configuration to target shared mailboxes as a knowledge source. Access to such data is controlled separately through permissions and Microsoft Graph. So this statement is false. Statement 2 says you can use natural language prompts to create the agent. This is correct. One of the key strengths of Copilot is that you can describe what you want in plain English, and it helps you to create and configure the agent accordingly. Statement 3 says you can configure the agent to use another agent as a knowledge source. This is also incorrect. Agents do not use other agents as data sources. They rely on documents, sites, and other structured knowledge sources. So the final answers are no, yes, and no, respectively. Next question. In a Copilot conversation, you generate a report and then edit the report in a page. You need to collaborate with the colleague on the report. What are the 2 ways to achieve the goal? The options are mention the colleague in the page, open the page in Microsoft Word, share the page link, add the page to a notebook. And the correct answers are options A and option C. Let's understand how. Well, in this case, you generated a report using Copilot, edited in page, and now you want to collaborate with a colleague. So the key requirement is collaboration. Option A says mention the colleague in the page. This is correct. When you mention someone, they get notified and can directly engage with the content. Option C says share the page link. This is also correct. Sharing the link gives your colleague access to the page so they can view or edit it depending on their permissions. Now let's eliminate the other options. Option B says open the page in Word. While Word supports collaboration, just opening it does not involve your colleague. Option D says add the page to a notebook that only helps in organizing content, not collaborating. And the correct answers are options A and C. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Again, 3 statements. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answers are yes for statement 1, no for statement 2, yes for statement 3. Let's understand why.
Statement one says you can add a Microsoft Teams chat as a knowledge source to a Copilot agent. This is correct. Copilot can use organizational data, including Teams chats, through Microsoft Graph, as long as the permissions are respected. Statement 2 says you can use a Copilot notebook to collaborate with users. This is incorrect. Notebooks are mainly for personal use and organization, not for multi-user collaboration. And statement 3 says you can use an image file like a JPG as a knowledge source. This is correct. Copilot supports multimodal inputs and can extract information from images. So the final answers are yes, no, and yes, respectively. Next question. You have an open Copilot conversation. You need to chat with an agent named Agent 1 during the conversation. What should you enter to call Agent 1? And your options are given on your screen. Please go through them. And the correct answer is option D. Let's understand why. When you are in active Copilot conversation and want to interact with a specific agent, you need a way to call that agent directly within the chat. Microsoft follows a consistent pattern across its applications, just like in Teams or Outlook, where you mention someone using the @ symbol. Copilot also uses the same approach for agents. So if you want to call an agent named Agent 1, you simply type @agent 1 in the conversation. Now let's eliminate the other options. Square brackets like option 1, option A are not used in Copilot. The hashtags are used for tagging or categorization, not for invoking agents. And the slash agent 1 is also not a valid syntax in this context. So the correct and expected way to call the agent is option D, @agent 1. Next question. Select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. From Microsoft 365, you dash the researcher agent, and your options in a drop-down box are cannot modify the settings of, can modify the agent instructions of, can add an additional suggested prompt to, can delete one of the suggested prompts from. And the correct answer is cannot modify the settings of. Let's understand why. See, the question is asking what you can do with the researcher agent from M365. The key point here is that a researcher is a built-in Copilot agent. Built-in agents are managed by Microsoft, which means that configuration, behavior, and settings are controlled at the service level. This ensures consistency, reliability, and security across all users. Because of this, end users cannot modify the settings of such agents directly from M365. Now let's look at the other options. First one, you cannot modify the agent instruction because those are predefined. You cannot add new suggested prompts because those are also managed by Microsoft, and you cannot delete existing suggested prompts either. So overall, you have limited control over built-in agents like Researcher. That's why the correct answer is cannot modify the setting. You plan to create an agent by using the M365 Copilot app. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. And you have been given three statements. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. The correct answers are yes for statement 1, yes for statement 2, and no for statement 3. Let's understand why. Statement 1 says the agent will be available in Microsoft Word. This is correct. Copilot agents can be used across M365 apps, including Word, allowing you to interact with them while working on documents. Statement 2 says the agent can be shared with other users in the organization. This is also correct. You can share agents so others in the organization can use them in their own workflows. Statement 3 says the agent can include complex workflows using third-party connectors. This is incorrect. That level of workflow automation is typically handled by tools like Power Automate, not Copilot agents. So the final answers are yes, yes, and no. Next question. You attend many Microsoft Teams meetings. You want to ensure that you can catch up on key points and next steps after each meeting. Which Copilot feature should you use after the meetings? And the options are recap, meeting whiteboard, meeting info, thread summaries. The correct answer is
Option A, recap. Let's understand why. See, you attend many Teams meetings and want to quickly catch up on key points and next steps after each meeting. That's what the question says. And this is exactly what the recap feature is designed for. Recap uses Copilot to generate a summary of the meeting. It highlights important discussion points, decisions made, and action items. So you don't have to go through the entire recording or transcript. Now let's look at the other options. Meeting whiteboard is used during the meeting for collaboration, not for post-meeting summaries. Meeting info just gives basic details like time and participants, not insights. And thread summaries are used for chat conversations, not meetings. So if your goal is to understand what happened in a meeting quickly, including next steps, recap is the best option. Next question. You run a prompt by using the researcher agent in Copilot. For each of the following statements, select if the statement is true, otherwise select no. And your statements are: you continue the conversation in Copilot in Word, in Copilot for Teams, and in Copilot in Outlook. And the correct answers are yes to all. Let's understand why. See, Copilot is designed to provide a seamless experience across different apps, which means conversations can continue across tools like Word, Teams, and Outlook. Statement 1 says you can continue the conversation in Copilot in Word. This is correct. When you are working on a document, Copilot allows you to continue interacting and refining content. Statement 2 says you can continue the conversation in Copilot for Teams. This is also correct. In Teams, Copilot helps with meeting summaries, chats, and follow ups, and you can continue the interaction here. Statement 3 says you can continue the conversation in Copilot in Outlook. This is again correct. You can use Copilot while composing emails or reviewing threads and continue the same context. So all three statements are correct. Next question. You create a prompt and add several files from your Microsoft OneDrive. You share the prompt to a user by using email. What occurs when the user uses the prompt? And you have been given four options on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. The correct answer is option D. The user can run the prompt successfully only if they have access to the files in your OneDrive. Let's understand why. You created a prompt in 365 Copilot and added files from your OneDrive. Then you shared that prompt with another user. Now the key concept here is permissions. Copilot always respects existing permissions. It does not grant access to files automatically just because you shared a prompt. So when the user tries to run the prompt, it will only work properly if that user already have access to those files in your OneDrive. Now let's eliminate the other options. Option A says access is granted automatically. That's not true because Copilot never overrides security. Option B says the files are removed from the prompt. That's also incorrect. The references remain. Option C says the user is prompted to request access. That's not a built-in Copilot behavior. So the correct answer is option D. Next question, select the answer that correctly completes a sentence. Dash enables organizations to apply governance policies to conversations generated by using Copilot. And your options are Defender for Cloud, Entra ID, Intune, Purview. And the correct answer is Microsoft Purview. Let's understand why. See, the keyword in this question is governance. Governance includes data classification, compliance, retention policies, auditing, and data protection. In Microsoft's ecosystem, all of these capabilities are handled by Microsoft Purview. Purview is the platform that helps organizations control how data is used, labeled, protected, and monitored. And this applies not just to emails and documents, but also to content generated by Copilot, including conversations. So if an organization wants to apply governance policies to Copilot generated content, Purview is the right solution. Now let's quickly eliminate the other options. Defender for Cloud is focused on security and threat protection for workloads in cloud. It does not handle governance of content. Entra ID is about identity access management. It controls who can access resources, but not how data is governed. And Intune is used for device and application management. It does not deal with data governance or compliance policies.
So when you see requirements related to governance, compliance, or data protection, the answer is almost always Microsoft Purview. Next question. You receive the following response to a prompt. Sorry, it looks like I can't respond to this. Let's try a different topic. What is the possible cause of the response? And you have four options on your screen. The correct answer is option B. The prompt contains language that violates safety guidelines. Let's understand why this is the correct answer. Well, you entered a prompt and received a response saying, sorry, it looks like I can't respond to this. Let's try a different topic. This is a standard safety response from Copilot. It usually means the system has detected something in the prompt that violates its safety or content policies. So Copilot is designed to block or refuse responses when the input includes harmful, unsafe, or restricted content. Looking at the other options, if the prompt is vague, Copilot typically asks for clarification, not refuses it outright. If the prompt has multiple requests, that's usually fine. Copilot can handle that. And if the prompt is too large, the system may truncate it or behave differently, but it won't give this specific safety message. So the correct answer is B, language that violates safety guidelines. Next question. You plan to use a notebook in Copilot. What is the purpose of a notebook? And the options are to create a transcript of a conversation that you can easily email to other users, to provide a private location that can be used to organize reference materials across related conversations, or to generate a summary of all the interactions you had with Copilot during a specific conversation. And the correct answer is option B. Let's understand why. In Copilot, a notebook acts like a centralized workspace where you can store and organize information such as files, notes, and other reference materials. This allows Copilot to use that context across multiple conversations, making its responses more relevant and accurate. Now let's look at other options, why they are incorrect. Option A talks about creating a transcript that you can email to others. This is not the purpose of a notebook. Notebooks are not designed for exporting or sharing conversation transcripts. Option C mentioned generating a summary of all interactions in a conversation. While Copilot can summarize conversations, that functionality is separate from notebooks. So the key idea is that notebooks help you organize context and materials across conversations, and that is why the correct answer is option B. Next question, for each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. You have three options on your screen. Please go through them by pausing the video over here. And the correct answers are no for statement 1, yes for statement 2, and no for statement 3. Let's understand why. Statement 1 says the agents you create are automatically shared with users in your organization. This is incorrect. By default, agents are private and must be explicitly shared. Statement 2 says that you can interact with the agent using Teams. This is correct. Teams is indeed one of the main places where you can use Copilot agents in real world collaboration. Statement 3 says that if you share the agent, the user can modify the agent instructions. This is incorrect. Users can interact with the agent, but they cannot change its instructions unless they have special permissions. So the correct answers are no, yes, and no. Next question. Select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. If you start a temporary chat in Copilot and then start a new chat, all prompts and responses from the temporary chat will be, the options are deleted or immediately, deleted after 1 hour, move to a private notebook, move to your Microsoft OneDrive. And the correct answer is deleted immediately. Let's understand why. In Copilot, a temporary chat is meant for short-term use. It is designed to ensure privacy and prevent any long-term storage of the conversation. Once you start a new chat, everything from the temporary chat is cleared right away. It is not saved or retained. Now let's look at other options. Deleted after 1 hour is incorrect because there is no delay. The deletion happens immediately. Move to a private notebook is also incorrect. Temporary chats are not stored anywhere.
Move to OneDrive is incorrect as well since chat data is not saved there. So the correct answer is deleted immediately. Next question. You need to improve prompt grounding during a Copilot conversation. What is the best approach to achieve the goal? Your options are use shorter prompts, provide the desired output format, avoid technical jargon, or reference specific files. The correct answer is reference specific files. Let's understand why. See, prompt grounding is all about making sure Copilot uses the right source of information rather than relying on general knowledge. When you reference specific files in your prompt, you are explicitly telling Copilot where to get the information from. This makes the response more accurate and reliable. Now let's look at other options. Using shorter prompts improves clarity but does not help with grounding. Providing output format helps structure the response, not the source. And avoiding technical jargon improves readability, not grounding. So the best way to improve grounding is to reference specific files, making D the correct answer.